I've clapped. Everything's good.
Wait, should I clap?
Yes,
should.
pending. Clap.
I don't understand the point of me clapping.
Okay.
Sinks.
It helps me sync up the audio a little bit better.
Okay, but we don't clap at the same time.
Pending, I'm syncing your audio to your own audio.
What do you mean you're syncing my audio to my audio?
What do you think I have you record your audio for?
I have no idea.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Oh god, I'm probably
This
gonna
is the
cut all
perfect
this out
bit
in
to
post.
start.
Okay.
Let's go.
Pending is still confused about that. Okay, hold on. Let me go over this for Pending real quick. We'll be back.
Yeah.
So Pending.
Yeah.
The reason I get you to clap is because so here's the thing. I am recording both myself and an OBS stream or an OBS recording that is all of our audio together. However, in order to get your and Kyrie's audio quality better than a Discord call, I literally have to get you to record your own audio. However, it's a pain in the ass to sync up your audio with the appropriate position within the actual time frame on my editor. So if you clap, it lets me know where you are within the audio. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah. I think I'm following you now.
Okay. Oh god, I thought we settled this last time, but no, it's apparently been haunting you for an entire month.
Well, because I thought we were supposed to clap in sync so that you would sync up everyone's audio to the clap.
No! Pending. How would I sync that over Discord?
I'm not a magic man, Shad. I don't have all the answers.
Neither am I!
Can I tell you guys a story? How we started the podcast?
You know what? We might as well.
No, yeah.
Well, welcome to Left Unspoken, the podcast where we don't leave things unspoken.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to the end of the 2024 podcast edition for Left Unspoken. Pending, what's your story?
First off, I'm Pending. Hello, nice to meet everyone for the first time. So my story. So me, my sister, and my dad went to get burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And in what feels like a bit from a sitcom, my sister ordered a veggie burger with only mushrooms. So they gave her a bun and mushrooms and no patty.
That's kind of funny.
So
I mean,
so we brought it to the guys like there's no patty, and he's like, you said only mushrooms, and we're like we know, but we meant like a patty in addition to the mushrooms, and he's like we don't have a veggie patty. It's like, why did you take an order for a veggie burger if you had no veggie patty?
Oh, ooh. Sorry. What did? Oh, there's a lot of.
There's a lot to unwrap there.
Yeah.
No, there
Well,
isn't,
not that
Kyrie.
much.
There's
Yeah.
not a
That's
lot
the
to
joke,
unwrap at
Shad.
all.
That's the joke, Shad.
Hi everybody. I'm Shad.
Hello, Shad.
Hi.
Welcome to our therapy session.
Oh god, I need it. I need it so fucking badly, man. Oh.
Are you stressed? Should we get real?
We've been fake this whole time.
Yeah, no. We've been
are you
pretending to be happy.
Are you telling me this entire podcast has been scripted?
No, what I mean is we've been faking the fact that we are happy people when in reality we are quite sad and scared.
That's life in a nutshell. That's a lot of things going on in and around life.
Yeah.
Kyrie, how are you doing?
I'm sick.
Shit. Okay. I was hoping we had some sort of infectious positivity going, but
But no, just
Hey
infection.
guys, how I'm getting through the last week of life because the year has started off crappy. How I've
Man,
been
when you
getting
say the
through-
last week of life, it made it sound like you only had a week left.
No, I
Ooh.
have more than a week, I promise.
Okay,
But
good.
I've been doing a demo game and just breaking stuff and letting gravity take over and letting things explode, and it's been getting me through.
Demo
Awesome.
as in demolition, not demo as in a short product.
Right.
No.
I've been playing Honkai Impact 3rd.
You've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, I wish my computer was better so I could stream it.
Yeah, I tried to get it.
I think you wouldn't leave the MiHoYo universe if that was the case.
He already doesn't.
You know what? I was thinking. So Honkai Star Rail, I've been somewhat unhappy about recently, and I was, and I'll go into details about it. But like they have like their like customer satisfaction survey at like the end of a patch.
Right, right.
So, like,
your newest drug fixation isn't hitting as hard as it used to. Is that correct?
Exactly. And there was a part of me that's like, I should tell them that, like, I've been enjoying Impact 3rd more recently. And then I thought about that for a second. It's like, what am I doing? I'm threatening to leave their one game for their other game.
Literally, it's like, oh wow, what are you gonna do? Spend time with us? Oh no, that's so terrible.
If you don't improve, I'm going to take my money and spend it on your other burger.
If you don't shape up, I'm gonna take my not spending and not spend it somewhere else with you.
Yeah. So yeah, Honkai Star Rail's been bugging me a little recently.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm actually very interested to see if this matches up with my reasoning for leaving Genshin back in the day. Because Kyrie, you remember when we were all going super hard on Genshin for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point, I just sort of hit this realization point with Genshin, and I'm curious as to why you're feeling dissatisfied with Star Rail.
I will say that my reason for leaving Genshin is different than my reason for leaving this game. Or, well, I haven't left Star Rail, but if I leave Star Rail, it will be for a different reason. My biggest issue with Genshin is
Star Rail. We're talking about.
I'll start with Genshin.
Genshin Impact, not Breath of the Wild.
Yes. My biggest issue with Genshin is ultimately that the daily grind was too much for me. I didn't like the daily quests, and I didn't like the grind for relics or whatever the Genshin equivalent to relics was.
Right.
I don't.
It was artifacts.
Artifacts, yeah. So in Star Rail, I don't. It's not that I enjoy farming for relics more in Star Rail. It's that it asks for almost none of my time to do it. and there's no daily quest in Star Rail in the way that there was for Genshin.
Right.
So like on your average day, I can be in and out of Star Rail in a matter of minutes.
Right. Whereas Genshin felt more like a job to do all the work. Star Rail you can just put on in the background and be like, it's there.
Yeah. And if your question to that is like, well, if the upside is you play very little, then what is the point of the game? And the answer to that, the honest answer to that is the point of the game is more the story content, which comes out like once every like month. Mm-hmm. So it's in practice, it's a game that like I care about like once a month, plus like every other week there's new endgame content.
Right.
So like those are the parts I care about it. It's just that because it's a MiHoYo gacha game, they also want you to do a daily grind. And at least in Star Rail, that daily grind doesn't require the same level of pain as Genshin. So basically,
pain.
Basically, my argument is that Star Rail has, from a time perspective, has more of the good stuff and less of the fluff compared to Genshin. That's what drew me to Star Rail after Genshin proved to be something that I didn't like anymore.
All right, so now that we've heard why you enjoyed it, let's hear why you fell out of love with this game that you just talked up.
So there's 3 main things that I have issues with, and and they're kind of like varying levels of problem. I think the thing that's most annoying right now, but perhaps is the most minor thing long term, is that the game is really buggy at the moment. It's just like...
That is... Okay, that was not on my list of... Yeah, no, the game just doesn't like to work.
Not... Okay, so it's not buggy in the sense that it crashes. It's buggy in the sense that characters are bugged. Like, their functionality is broken. And has been for about a month now.
Really now? Okay,
Yes.
Describe it to me.
So... One of the main characters, the most egregious one of the main sustains, a character called Aventurine, his shield isn't activating the way it's supposed to, which turns it from being one of the best sustains in the game to a character that is borderline unusable at endgame content. Okay,
so it's actually just abilities are not proccing when they should. And
yeah.
For those of you who don't understand, unlike everything else in MiHoYo's catalog, Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based RPG where you only really have abilities to dictate how a fight goes.
Yeah.
The moment-to-moment gameplay is your abilities and their use. So him not working is essentially just a quarter of your team being a punching bag.
It essentially puts him in a situation where, like, if the content is at the highest level, then taking him in is not terribly viable right now. So it basically completely it kind of cuts the legs out of the unit. So so that's problematic, and the fact that it's been that way for about a month now is particularly bad.
Are there any other characters who are as egregiously broken or noticeably broken that you found?
There have been other characters like this over the last patch, none as severe as this one. I think I recall there being something wrong with Firefly. I think there might have been something wrong with Himiko at a time. But Aventurine is the one that stands out the most.
Okay.
What else? Do describe to me your displeasure in this game. I'll eat it like a little goblin.
Shad, calm down.
So that's annoying. And so that's annoying, but I assume it's going to be fixed next week when the patch comes.
Right.
When like the new expansion comes. People are expecting, because of how significant this bug has been, that MiHoYo will give a significant number of apology gems. I don't expect that at all. I don't think they will. But that's kind of the cope that people have been.
Please, Mr. Good Giant Corporation, please give me free gambling access because your game is broke.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. One of the other things is that the power creep in Honkai Star Rail has been rather significant.
Okay, that is actually something I noticed while playing Genshin as well.
Although I will say that anecdotally, it seems like Star Rail is more egregious than Genshin in that regard.
Unfortunately, that's probably due to the fact that it is a just by the numbers RPG.
I think that's a big factor in it, yes, because like it being a
to the point where everything is numbers.
Yeah, the fact that everything is numbers, like there is no player skill in the sense that of like dodging and maneuvering and that kind of thing. There's player skill in like what your team composition is, like what abilities you use and in what order and the timing of it. Although that being said, you have two abilities, a basic, a skill, and an alt. So there, what you do in that regard is somewhat limited. A lot of it will come down to team composition and like what relics and light cones you bring in. So power creep becomes much more significant for those reasons and much harder to avoid because you can't necessarily skill your way past power creep as effectively as you would in a game like Genshin.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? Hey, Kyrie.
Yeah.
You said you played, oh god, what was it? Magic the Gathering, right? Is this sounding a lot like how card games typically go in that sort of thing? Because
Not really. It has a different kind of life to it. Because there's ways around, like, okay, so the basic concept for a card game, you build a deck, you play the deck, it has different concepts, different things.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's so common to just proxy.
Meaning?
Proxy meaning you make a copy of what would be the rare card or the very elite card that you want. It's not the actual card, but it's something close enough to it that you can still play even though you don't have it.
Okay, so it's essentially a fill card. Like,
Yes.
you can play around its misgivings even if it's not the most useful card.
It is a card to be put in your deck that you wouldn't have otherwise. It's not legal, so you can't go and compete with it, but it's for the fun of it. So there's ways around. So the power creep isn't there. The trying to get all those rare cards isn't there. And there's so many different game types nowadays that you don't see that anymore.
Right, okay. I guess that you would see it more in, like, single-player games like that, because I've been playing a game called Library of Runia. It's a single-player card game, for lack of a better word, and its power creep is, oh my god, that is the entire core gameplay loop.
The only card game I've played recently that has a hardcore mechanic like that would be Inscription.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I can see that. That makes sense to me. Did you ever play Inscription Pending?
I have not. I will. I should also note that the way in which power creep, like, there's kind of two kinds of power creep in the game, but the main way that power creep is a thing is that numbers go up.
Yeah.
So, like, newer units do more damage than older units, and in addition to that, the endgame content, the enemies have been getting more and more and more HP over time. So because of that, older units, while they're hitting as hard as they used to from a percentage standpoint, it's less so. So you kind of have to rely more on the newer units.
Yes. So
especially because some units mechanically are very similar or identical to older units, with the exception of being better in one or two ways.
So this is a very familiar conversation and a very familiar feeling I had back when I was playing Genshin, because I really liked one particular character since the beginning of the game. I just loved how they played. They were really fun to have on my team, and I just liked them being around. Once I got to a certain area in the game, they didn't necessarily work as well.
They feel useless once you reach a certain area.
They feel useless, and I wish the biggest problem is, like, the MiHoYo systems of how their equipment works could solve that, but usually they don't.
Yeah.
At least how I would have liked it to go is that, hey, any character can work for any specific challenge, or like people are more obviously more useful than others. However, if you really needed to, you could use equipment to like fill out your character's stats and whatever. Though MiHoYo or at least yeah, you can correct me on this pending, but at least how it worked in Genshin was like there were always only like very specific builds that only worked on those specific characters, and mixing and matching was next to impossible.
So that's mostly true of Honkai Star Rail. I say mostly because there are alternative relic sets for a lot of characters where like you can potentially use a different relic set as opposed to another one. Usually it's usually it's going to be a damage loss if you use the less ideal set. It's not often a major damage loss, and in some cases it's more a question of what you want the character to do. Like some characters have some flexibility in terms of what their role can be, although it's usually more fringy. Like for example, Lingsha, who is the newest of the sustains, is a little weird in the sense that you can kind of build her as a DPS. Under like very specific circumstances. It's not what she's designed to be, but she is currently broken enough that under the right circumstances that can work.
You see, she's broken enough where you can actually change up how she plays to make her more interesting.
Yeah, she's the newest sustain and therefore the best sustain.
Yes, and that was very much how I felt upon leaving Genshin. At that when I did.
Like, that is largely how it goes. It's not always going to be exactly like that. I will say that Acheron and Firefly, who both came out at the beginning of the Penacony expansion, did...
I'll just nod like I know what you're saying.
Yeah. They did serve pretty good throughout, although that being said, Acheron is already showing her age. And the break meta is about to fall out of favor, so I don't know how Firefly is going to do in the next area. So I mean, Firefly is still a top tier break character, a break DPS. I don't know if that's going to matter anymore, because I don't know if the future enemies are going to be built with break vulnerability in mind, with like the idea that break would be good against them. So
right.
We'll
so aside from things like balance and overall like core game health, what's like the other things that are pushing you away from this game that you spent a lot of time with this?
I have.
So these have to be like really core issues that are pushing you away.
So the power
lean back in the chair. Tell me about how you feel.
The power creep is definitely a genuine factor, because it kind of makes me feel a bit like I'm on a hamster wheel, where like you're always running forward but you're never progressing.
That is a very familiar feeling.
Yeah. So that is a factor. The other thing is that and this is something I do hope will be addressed with this next world. How the current world works. Basically, how Honkai Star Rail numbers their expansions is that you have like the first number, and the first number signifies what kind of world of expansion you're on. So like we've been on 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2. So on. to now we're on 2.7, and from 2.7 we're going to move to 3.0, and the reason why it's 3.0 instead of 2.8 is the 3 signifies that we're going to a new world.
Okay, so to put it in simple understanding, the 3 means the world you're on, the point means the level that is being dictated.
Basically,
to
yeah.
put it in layman's terms.
You can think of it like small expansions, big expansions.
It's like you're in an apartment building.
Yeah. The 3.0 signifies that it's going to be the new big expansion. So the 2.x, like 2.x being 2.0 through 2.7, that was kind of like the Penacony story arc. The problem with that is the Penacony story arc ended essentially in 2.2.
Oh no!
2.3 was kind of an epilogue. Everything else has been filler.
Oh god! You've been spinning your wheels for like a good 5 updates.
Yeah.
If I can count properly, Kyrie, can I count properly?
Yeah, you can count properly.
Okay, thank you.
We'll get NASA to confirm that for us. But
okay, thank you.
But yeah,
Kyrie, you work for NASA?
No, but I have connections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been getting filler for a while. Some of it's been good, some of it's been not so good. The last patch was a Penacony epilogue, which would have been okay, which would have been better had we not already had a Penacony epilogue like 4 months ago.
So
yeah, it's been a little.
You've been spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
For a while.
To be fair to them.
To be fair to the multi-billion-dollar company.
To be fair to the multi-billion-dollar moneymaker, yes.
Yes.
They did suggest that this new world, the 3.x, is going to be told over the course of the full expansion, as opposed to this, where it was like 3 patches, like essentially 3 months worth of story, followed by like 4 months worth of filler.
Yeah.
So they suggested that it's going to be better balanced this time, where like we're not gonna necessarily spend the whole time on the world, but we're gonna at least keep bouncing back and forth between the world. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be all filler. So hopefully we don't have like
hopefully it's not all filler.
Because there's
some plot.
I am so burnt out on filler.
That is absolutely understandable.
Yeah, I'm tired of this. I want Naruto Shippuden to start.
I am tired of the Great Tea Race. Please.
Yeah. So yeah, and I guess to an extent, whether or not you would categorize the last 4 or 5 months as filler depends on how much you liked it. I certainly would categorize it as filler because I don't feel like anything happened of consequence.
Yeah.
Aside from, like, the only thing that's happened of consequence since 2.2 is that Sunday is now joining our team. And that was essentially, like, that could have been summarized in 10 sentences. So.
The day, the drink, or a person named Sunday?
Oh. No, it was the person named Sunday.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Since you have someone named March 7th, March 4th, something like
March
that?
March 7th, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the main things that have been bugging me. I am hoping that it gets better. But then I guess, okay, there's another thing that kind of bothers me.
there's another thing.
What else?
While I'm digging, I hit a pipe.
So
might as well keep going.
So I think part of the reason why Star Rail is losing a little bit of its shine is actually because I have been playing Honkai Impact 3rd, and like, from what I've seen of 3rd, it just seems like they do it better in the game. A couple different things.
Here's the like
Yeah.
big over-under on Impact Third, its main story is done.
Yeah,
Like-
so I can't judge what the new stuff is, because I am on chapter 16 of part 1. There is a part 2. That's what's ongoing now. So I can't judge part 2. I can't judge how the story continues. However, what I can say about Impact the Third, a couple things that are in its favor.
Yeah.
One is that it does have power creep. That is absolutely still thick. But at least there's an emphasis in that game of the new hotness being the new battle suit for an existing character. And the upshot of that is that they don't have to have 3,000 characters to sell you a new character. They can just sell you a new variant of the existing character, which is much better story-wise because you actually get to follow and develop characters.
Yes, that's I will say, out of all of the MiHoYo properties that I have seen, I feel like, at least in regards to the story, I had a much easier time following along with things like Impact Third, as opposed to Genshin or Rail.
Yeah.
Train time.
I am hopeful that Star Rail will start putting a bigger emphasis on variants of existing characters as opposed to the continuous introduction of new characters. I don't see that happening. I don't have a lot of confidence in that. I do think we are going to get the occasional variants, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that. Even the characters that follow us all the time, I don't feel like there's a lot of development there. Like, I don't feel like there's been much like, we've been playing the game for like 2 years now. I don't feel like March 7th has developed much as a character. I don't feel like Welts or Himiko or...
Are you talking like character development wise or just like skill based?
Character development, purely not in terms of like their kits or anything. Purely from a story perspective, I don't feel like any of the Trailblazers have really grown as characters. They've all been kind of just reacting to the situations they've been in and sticking to their character archetypes. Whereas in Impact Third, I feel like there's been, through the 16 chapters that I've played, I feel like there's been genuine character progression. I won't pretend like Impact Third is the pinnacle of storytelling. It's not that, but I will say that I think it does a lot more character study. Like, it dives deeper into the characters and it challenges the characters on a more internal level, and like it's more introspective, and in a way more deliberate and sometimes slower paced, and I don't want to say smaller scale, but I think smaller in terms of the number of actors in the scene at any given time.
It is a more intimate scale with heavy proportions.
I think that's a good way of point.
High stakes, intimate in terms of character conflict.
I will also say the thing that surprised me the most, like, obviously the early chapters of Impact are fairly rough because it was smaller budget, older stuff. However, at this point, I've gotten to parts of Impact of the Third where the cutscenes in it, in part because of the emotional weight, but also in part because of the production values, are equal or better than what Star Rail has done.
Okay, let me ask you
Despite the fact that Star Rail is newer and theoretically is a bigger budget.
All right. I think also in terms of everything coming out of MiHoYo, this was their first child, this was their baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it has a lot more love and thought put in than most other games will have.
It really does feel like like the care more about Impact Third. And
Yeah.
and I should also qualify this with all saying Honkai Impact the Third is still very much a gacha game. It still very much has the same gacha mechanics and the same like money mechanics.
Yeah.
And
so
if anything, in some ways, it's worse than Star Rail because there are a lot more ways that you can potentially spend money in Impact Third compared to Star Rail.
Let me put it like this in for everyone in the audience. I have played a bunch of MiHoYo games.
Mm-hmm.
I played 2. I played Genshin and I have played Impact Third. I have since bounced off of both of them, but I still do respect what a lot of them have been trying to do, just from a distance and not playing them anymore. Because those predatory things, they fucked me up for a while.
Yeah, no, completely understandable. Like,
so let me ask you a very important question then, Pending. Have you gotten to how do I say this without spoilers?
Do you want me to tell you where I am in the story so you have context?
Have you seen a cutscene called Final Lesson?
Okay, it's hard for me to know because I don't know what the cutscenes are called. I can look it up real quick. By look it up, I mean I can open up the game and see if there's a cutscene I have unlocked entitled that.
Okay, have you seen the game's big cinematics? Where it's like a full 3D nonsense going on. It's a big budget cutscene. Things are going crazy.
If I had to guess, Final Lesson would be the Himiko scene.
Yes, it's the Himiko scene.
Then yes, I have seen that.
Okay, let me just put this in perspective.
And I will say, like, the Himiko scene was one that was partially spoiled for me already because Himiko, or a version of Himiko being in Star Rail, and me like checking out Honkai Star Rail forums, people have made references to Himiko from Third Impact before, so I kind of went into it knowing a bit about Himiko more than, and to a certain extent, well.
Unfortunately, 'tis the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
This is, however, Himiko as a character is a very good example of why I can kind of think that, like, there's a bit of iffiness going on in all their other projects, because there is not as much respect put on any other characters as I would say even Himiko got.
So, in relation to that...
Specifically because, minor spoiler for Honkai Impact Third.
Yeah, this is a spoiler.
At some point, Himiko dies.
Yes.
She does not come back.
Yeah, and...
Nor is she given much in the way of, like, alternative upgrade to her fight styles and such. Like, it is the most respect I have seen in a gacha game given to a dead character ever.
For context, like, Himiko dies maybe about 10 to 15% of the way through the current story, so there's a lot of story to play after that. Just so you guys know that that's not a spoiler that spoils the entire story for you. That's a spoiler that, like, if this was a book, that would be a chapter like 5 spoiler kind of thing.
It's the mentor dies.
Yeah.
That's the archetype we're going with here.
So yeah, and I have thought about that a bit because she's not the only character. She's not the only time Impact deals with death. And I think something else that bugged me a little bit about Penacony is that it teased death in a very Hollywood way.
Oh no!
So,
oh no! Oh no!
See, on that topic, like, they have brushed it off on Genshin Impact. Because at the very beginning, you have a major character fake his own death so he could be freed from basically what society has relegated as his job.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I know the exact thing you're talking about.
It's an entirely different scenario than what you would expect with the character's death, and it's kind of played up.
Yeah, it's interesting because he is essentially shirking his duty and being dead to the world while still being alive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like an actual death at that point may have hit a little bit harder if we got to know him a lot longer, because he's just written out of the story at that point.
In Penacony, there's a lot of fake out deaths, and
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and I don't believe anyone in Penacony dies and stays dead. So
man,
it made it all feel very manipulative in the end, especially because 2 different patches ended with a supposed character dying, and then in the next patch revealed as not dead.
Ooh.
So like, people talk about like how Penacony was somber and heartbreaking and that kind of thing, and part of me is like, not really, because it didn't matter in the end.
This makes me think of Wuwa and how they approached like several stories and concepts of death very early on.
For those who don't know, what is Wuwa?
Wuthering Waves.
There you go. Okay.
They approach the concept of death through a lot of storytelling, because you have a world that's being, through decline, is having this massive, like, world-ending event where there's monsters developing, there's less and less room for people available, and you're seeing, like, remnants of empty cities, and you're seeing... I don't want to get, like, too caught up into it, but you literally go through the visions of some of these townsfolk on how they treat death and murder, and how
it feels like a real place.
It feels real because humans itself are not innately good. They're not innately bad. They're gray. Everything is morally gray. And you have what supposedly is the big bad villain leading you through this, and he's just like, who's right in this situation? You have all of these dead people. Who do you think is right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it leaves you in this morally gray area of no one's right.
Without venturing too far into spoilers, the chapter I'm playing through in Honkai Impact right now really dives into the morally grayness of a character, and kind of the examination of like the latent hypocrisy of people. And she's not the first morally gray character we've encountered, but she is, like, I think the one that we've kind of had the most direct examination of that concept. Like, right. I will also say that I feel like Cocolia in Impact Third has been really well fleshed out in a way that kind of makes me wish that Cocolia in Star Rail kind of got a bigger focus.
You're seeing what the actual like budget for these characters writing is doing. And you're like, man, I wish I had anything here.
Yeah, because like when we fight Cocolia in Star Rail, it was a really cool scene, and I loved that song. Like it was cool, but I didn't feel bad about it. In the same way.
Would you say it felt more like a wink and a nod and more like a cute little reference to those who are in the know rather than an actual impactful scene?
In retrospect, I feel like Cocolia in Star Rail is a little bit more of a wink and a nod. When I played that originally, I didn't know of Cocolia in Impact Third, so I was taking everything at the face value of the Star Rail story.
Right.
And I think in that context, Cocolia is serviceable as a villain who has kind of lost their way. Like, a tragic villain, but not one that we spend enough time with to really feel the tragedy. Just that we only kind of get to know them enough that we can kind of go, oh yeah, okay, I understand why they're a villain. Like, their motivation checks out. Like, so it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a plot holy or anything. It just doesn't have the same kind of emotional weight that Cocolia and Impact Third does. And I think part of the reason for that is because we don't spend a ton of time with her. But I think the other part of the reason for that is because the first world in Star Rail kind of serves as a little bit more tutorially. Not tutorially in the same way that it's teaching you the game. Tutorially in the way that it's kind of introducing you to.
It's easing you into the concepts and the rules of the world.
Yeah. So because of that, it's a bit of a more simplified story. Zele, Seely, and Bronya get some good scenes together, and to the game's credit, like, those two characters do keep getting revisited. It's a shame that they've both been power crept so far that it would be silly to use either of them. I mean, Bronya makes a little bit more sense.
It's funny that you say that, because it's like, those two characters, like, being heavily a part of the story is just hilarious to me, because I know they're just the Impact Third crew.
Yeah.
Being brought over, being like, hey guys, they're here. They're part of the main plot. And it's like,
well, I mean, to call them part of the main plot, I mean, they were part of the main plot for like that first section, but ever since then they've been side characters.
Right.
I would like to see more done with them. But I think maybe that's just my, like, newfound enjoyment of Impact Third talking. Like, in terms of, if I was just judging Star Rail for Star Rail, I don't feel like those characters within the context of Star Rail really need to be explored. Like, I think that there's characters with higher priority. Like, I feel like there's a story that they want to tell with March 7th, and they haven't gotten around to that yet. Maybe this world will change that. I think
I'm getting Genshin flashbacks again.
Part of this being a MiHoYo gacha game means that the pacing is dreadfully slow. Because we're talking about...
It also means, like, some of the stories and stuff are locked behind a paywall, because you have to have some of the characters. And that was some of the issue I had with Genshin, is, like, the little things that would lead you to learn about the characters are locked behind actually owning it.
Oh yeah, like, the dialogues that would trigger... and stuff where you could actually look at their backstory.
The stories, like the dates and the hangouts and stuff like that. All of that was locked behind owning the character.
To be fair to HSR, so far we haven't encountered that where we've encountered a quest that you have to own a character.
It may be very much a Genshin thing,
right? Because
I've seen Honkai. I've played Honkai a little bit. But I think it's very much a Genshin thing because it was more of a story based.
Yeah. I do remember that happening in Genshin because I remember...
God. I just remembered the other thing. God. I just remember one of the other things in Genshin. Sorry to interrupt you here, Pending. But it was like
no worries.
The time-gated events that actually had major story ramifications.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember this, Kyrie, but do you remember, like, the second ever event in Genshin Impact where a character finds out a fundamental truth about the world and then we don't see him again for years?
Yeah, fucking Dansleaf running off on his own.
I'm not even talking about Dansleaf, I'm talking about the Hat Boy.
What Hat Boy?
Oh god, what's his fucking face? I don't remember his name. That's how little of importance he was. But yeah, also Dansleaf. He ran off on his own.
Dansleaf would you'd have dots drawn to like a topic, and they'd lead him down this little path that he'd follow, like little breadcrumbs, and then he'd be like, I see, and then he'd disappear for months on end, and it's just like, what did you see?
Oh my god, no, my favorite part. Do you remember when we had like back in Genshin, there was like a major plot reveal of like, hey, I gotta find my sibling. You find your sibling with this other main character looking guy, and you're both like, all right, we need to settle this here and now, and we're gonna talk about this, and your sibling literally goes, you need to see the world and shit. And then the plot literally runs through a portal, and they're never seen again.
Oh, I remembered that part. I stopped playing the game shortly after that.
Yeah, like, it was...
It's literally, and they run away.
It's literally, nuh-uh, the enemies and your ally book it through some funny dark portal, and you're left to go to the rest of the video game while the plot waits for you to catch back up.
Cool.
Oh my god, that was, because that's the thing that actually got me about Genshin Impact as well. It was like, hey, we're gonna put the main plot that you might be interested in on hold so we can have a fun time in the new country. And while that's interesting, usually the plot in the country had nothing to do with what you were doing there. And you were the same person as you came in as to when you leave.
Right.
Greetings, traveler.
Yes!
Will you help me find my missing cat?
Greetings, traveler. Can you help me find my kumquats? My kumquats have been were removed from my car.
How is this gonna help me find my sister? I don't know. Maybe your sister has touched the kumquat.
I don't know. Maybe your sister's touched the kumquats. It's like when you get there, it's like, oh yeah, these are my sister's fingerprints on the kumquats. Here are your kumquats back. Anyway, back to finding my sister. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's things like this that really make me appreciate a game like Warframe.
You know what I appreciate?
Yeah?
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
I only bring that up because I saw Rafunk just log on the site.
Yeah, absolutely. Marvel Rivals is, like, from what I played before I halted my play, Marvel Rivals was good. It's very good.
Everyone seems to like Marvel Rivals.
I would love it if Pending could try, but you probably need a better computer before that.
That is my suspicion, yeah.
Well, I mean, thing is, it's free, so you can at least attempt to download it, and if you do download it, make sure it's downloaded onto your boot drive.
Well, that's part of the problem. I don't have enough space for it on that drive. So
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
And my other drive's
hey guys,
an
bit of a heads up.
HDD.
Do not, if you are thinking about playing Marvel Rivals, you should. But also, do not install it on anything other than your boot drive. No matter if it is an SSD, a hard drive, or whatever, make sure that it is your boot drive.
Oh, so even
it'll
if
run better.
Even if it was an SSD, it wouldn't work. Why is that?
So Marvel Rivals, apparently here, I'm parroting information here. For some reason, whenever you install it on something that isn't your boot drive, it's going to have a massive amount of loading issues.
Really?
Yeah. For whatever reason, like, where it's downloaded is important. Maybe it needs Windows access, and trying to read and write that over drives is causing it. I don't know. I'm speculating. Either way, if you don't install it on your boot drive, shit goes funky.
Oh, okay.
Even if it's an SSD.
I thought... Okay, because I thought the problem was that... Because AC mentioned that, but I assumed the problem with him was that it wasn't an SSD. But
don't get me wrong, SSDs help. Having like actual hard drives in your system, it helps out a lot. But like for whatever reason, Marvel Rivals is a special case where if it's not on the boot drive, it's going to have a loading hissy fit.
I see. Okay.
Maybe it's admin's permissions again. speculating.
Right.
Either way, I ran into a game ruining problem with it, and I am giving them time to fix it. I quoted there, you couldn't see it. But I'm giving them time to fix it before I pick it back up. Heard there's a potato mode coming soon. I will pick it back up then.
Pending.
If it is not fixed.
Just to explain, we had a very theatrical conversation yesterday where me and Shad were yelling back and forth about it. Discussion entirely, we were yelling back and forth about it.
We eventually came to an understanding somewhat, I believe.
I see.
It was funny because we all calmed down after it, and Carve comes in, gets told the situation, and he's like, oh, potato mode. And the second he said potato mode, it took 2 words, and Shad changed his entire opinion on the entire thing. And I was just like, I hate this entire thing. Me and Zan just spent like a solid hour trying to convince you to do this. And Carve comes in and says 2 words. I can't believe you.
It was really, really funny because we were like, it was the 2 words I needed to hear with an exact date, and it's like, oh wow, hooray, thank God, finally, I have something to work with here. Yay!
Potatoes, finally, someone put it in language I understand.
Shut your mouth. Yeah, no, if he said bagel mode, I'd be out.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Which is also funny because I sent it to Pending, and Shad knows about it. But yeah, the bagel clip in Baldur's Gate.
We don't need to talk about the bagel clip.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Shad, you never figured out who was behind the bagel thing, did you?
No, I have no idea who was, like, it had to be, like, multiple people co-opting it after I started making such a big deal about it, because there's no way certain people would have known from other certain people, and I'm like, okay.
So, I will say I was in on said joke, but Shad ruined the joke before I could get to it, so I passed off my responsibilities to someone else.
Oh.
You motherfucker.
So... I'll just say it was me.
Okay.
Pending was the arbitrator. Pending. He went to so many people.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. However, it can't be you for everyone. It's gone too far.
So, it's possible that people pass it to other people.
It is absolutely possible that people passed it to other people.
So, like, when it happened, I ended up, like...
Okay, hold on. For context here, I had been sent the same video for a solid, I want to say, couple weeks to a month at that point, from multiple different people giving me around the same joke.
Yeah.
And it was a video like about, just had an entire section about bagels in it. And I think the funniest part about this entire bit is that, like, for the longest time, I had completely just wiped the bagel bit from my mind. And it only became about the first half of the video that was, like, actually irrelevant to the bagel bit. And I was like, why are people sending me this video? I don't get it. It's just out of nowhere. Why are people sending me this video? Perfect. And then I think it was you, Kyrie, who said it was, like, about bagels.
Yeah.
And then it just came rushing back in, and I'm like, oh my God.
So, to preface it from there, about 3 days in to the actual, like, horror that you were inflicting on Shad, Shad comes into our chat and he's like, this has got to be a joke. Like, 6 people have sent this to me over the last 3 days. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, what was it? And it was the video that Pending had sent to me. It said, like, Pending is just like, hey, on Thursday, can you send this to Shad? For
on
which
Thursday?
Is like 4 days.
So
like,
how I orchestrated
4 days off.
How I orchestrated it, Chad, was I assigned different people different days.
Wonderful.
So that way each day someone else would send it to you, and I instructed them to be like, hey, could you send him this clip? Tell him that you saw it and it reminded him it reminded you of him. And then when he mentions that other people have sent it, just be like, huh, that's weird. I guess it's just like, showing up on everyone's recommended.
God. But Shad never watched the video to the point that he really got it.
I did. That was the
you
problem.
You watched it, but you didn't.
Like,
I
watched it all the way through,
comprehend.
and I remember like it all came back to me. I literally I had to put it out of my mind as a trauma response. I have to think because I remember watching the video and then getting to the part with the bagels and going, oh, I remember it all completely now.
But yeah, Shad was watching it. He's like, why is everybody sending this to me? I'm like, Shad, it has bagels in it.
and then it was like, you're kidding. And then I watched it and then it all came flooding back to me as the bit and I fully understood it again.
So Shad sent it to me in our DMs and I'm like, oh shit. Well, I can't really send it back to him now since he sent it to me.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm like, Mari may not be in on this joke. So I went to Mari and I'm like, hey, do you want to be in on a joke? And I'm like, I'm supposed to send this to Shad on Thursday, but he's sent it to me, so I can't, reasonably have a good excuse to send it to him. God. Will you please send it to him? She's like, send me a reminder, and I'm in. And so I sent her a reminder, the night before.
I will also say that one goal of mine, and I wasn't able to do this as well as I had hoped, was that I wanted it to be sent to you by people who wouldn't have reasonably sent it to you. If I could have gotten Barack Obama to DM you this, I would have done that. If I had that power.
So Pending asked, and we started to make a list, and we got some crazy names up there just to be like, please send this to Shad.
You did. I will say, you got some crazy people. I was not expecting it from our blue-haired mutual.
Yeah.
That one got me out of the blue. We talk. We're still very acquainted. We sent each other some stuff. I was not expecting that from them. Mm-hmm. When I got that, you saw, I was on stream.
Yeah, no, you were on stream.
I was on your stream when I got it, and I had the fucking breakdown of there's something going on here. There's absolutely something going on here.
Well, I timed that one specifically because you were already starting to suspect.
It was wonderful. Yeah. This is the best joke.
But
we should get that clip and just link it in the in the comments and stuff. Yeah. Just be like,
God.
This is the video.
Is that even? Were you able to get that saved in time, Pending?
It would still be in my VOD, but I don't know specifically where.
If not, we'll just link the bagel stuff.
Yeah.
we'll link something for you to watch extra.
Just put it. Just check the description, and you'll see the video we're talking about. I'm sure I have enough of it. Okay, I will say though, out of all of the bits that came out of this Destroy Sad's mental state session, Argama won.
Oh yeah, Argama went the most extra with it.
She absolutely went the most off the wall. It's actually very funny because within within the same 24-hour period, I got the same joke out of both Swearin and Argama.
Yes.
Argama did such a brilliant job because, as not many of you know, a friend of ours, Argama Witch, is working on a video game, a visual novel. And she was like, hey, can I get your honest opinion on this part of the visual novel? And she had made an unlisted YouTube video about it. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I thought she'd get me to play it. It's like, oh, it's fine. So I click on it. I go into the video, and everything is normal. It's a little off because it's like it's not going to be like hyper high quality because it's just a thing. And she's going through it. It's like, yeah, so I'm looking to get this thing. Hard cuts in the middle of her diatribe straight into the video, and I am just losing my mind at that point.
I should also mention, because I want your feedback for the future. At a certain point, I stopped asking people because because like I was preparing this a little bit in advance in the sense that I was like,
there was weeks set up.
Yeah, I was getting to the point where I was asking people to bug you in like 2 weeks' time, and at a certain point, I like asked myself, at what point does this stop being a joke and just turns into straight up bullying? So I'm like, maybe I should stop asking people because I'm worried that eventually this will stop being funny and it'll start seriously angering him.
I would, if it was still going on, I'd probably start getting upset by it.
Okay.
I think it's hard to tell though because I have very thick skin when it comes to this sort of thing. I'd be infinitely more flabbergasted if it was still going on and it was still new people.
Okay, thank you for
because I feel like even with us, we have gone through all of our mutuals, save maybe Girl DM at this point.
Wait, no, she sent you.
Oh my god, she did. She fucking sent it to
me. Did you not see that she sent it to you?
No. I remember now. Oh my god. No, she sent it to me on Twitter.
Yeah, she did.
Oh my fucking god. Oh, she even sent it to me there. Oh my god.
I like how you were like, everyone but Girl DM. I'm like, no, she didn't. She sent you.
She did send it to me. Oh my god. Yeah, no, okay, so we are I think the biggest thing is we are out of people. Like, unless, like, Pending started pulling strings and getting actual, like, not to say anyone else isn't, like, famous, but, like, multi-million channel, like, subscription channels to, like, bully me. It's like, he's not even asking for collabs for himself. He would be going out of his way to get, like...
It'd all be for a joke.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, fucking, if actually Barack Obama, when you sent me the video.
I messaged Lily Peachy. It's like, hey, we haven't ever talked before, and you don't know who I am, but would you help me prank a guy that you also don't know? And Lily Peachy was like, yes, just give me the details. I'm in.
See, what's funny is you messaged Lily Pichu. Lily wouldn't do it, but if you had contacted Michael Reeves, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, fuck this guy."
yeah. Michael Reeves coming out of the woodwork to be like, "I don't know who this guy is for sure." Yeah. Just sends a fucking friend request and be like, "Hey, I don't think I know you, but I think this is very much a you
Reeves
thing."
Like, I don't know this Shad, but yes, yeah, you know, let's prank him.
Fucking Momiji comes back from the dead to send it to me.
I mean, technically.
That'd be funny.
Yes, I know the technicalities, but even still, this is a joke for you and me.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you for filling out the consumer feedback form. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, it was a very good bit. Yeah. I approve of how fucking far everyone went to do the bit.
Went very long. I'm very sad I couldn't participate, but Shad ruined my end.
Right.
So I was able to keep it going in my own way.
Yeah. So
I got someone to cover for me.
How dare you confide in her, Shad?
How dare I confide in one of my best friends? Yeah.
How dare?
How dare my insanity ruin your fun?
It's fine. There'll be plenty more times for that to happen. Yeah.
Oh, I'm well aware. I've known you fuckers for how long? I'm well
About
aware there'll be
6 years
more.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a while. A good while.
Yeah.
Did we, Shad? No, we knew each other after I became Pending, right?
It was after,
yeah.
No, it was after you started VTubing. Because I got into VTubing from let me remember my goddamn ancient history here.
Yeah.
I got interested in watching VTubers from Moe, who then brought me to somehow, I don't remember how the fuck this happened, but eventually I caught... No. I remember how it was. Okay, so it was Moe had a collab with Kay and Yui, and then along the way, I went to Asu. Asu literally said the words, "Nah, man, it's easy to start," and then everything snowballed from there.
In a way, mine is somewhat similar. Not the part. Not like the specific chain, because my first VTuber was Kizuna I, and then my first.
Okay, if we really want to go all the way back, it was Rooster Teeth that got me into this shit because of other stuff. But like, no, like the thing that actually got me into the VTuber community as a whole was Moe being herself, and then eventually that led to blank, blank, and blank, and now I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I had Mira screaming about things that I'm not going to repeat in front of Pending. As she played Senran Kagura.
Yeah, that sounds like a Mira move.
But yeah, it was like a person telling me, like, it's actually not that hard to get into VTubing. That's what helped push me to make the jump. Bladewing was the one. Was he had recently started VTubing, and he's like and he mentioned to me, it's like, it's actually much easier than I thought it would be, and that encouraged me to be like, well, if it's not actually, if like controlling the model, which was part of what I was worried about, because I had already started doing some video editing at that point. So I was like, if controlling the model is viable, then maybe I'll give it a go. And yeah, things went from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking cheers to the people that got us into this mess. May your shenanigans be forever.
Cheerly got me in here. Mira helped me stay.
Yeah.
And now I'm stuck here. I don't think I'm allowed to leave.
Man, I've never actually told the full story. Like, so, oh god, a multitude of years ago, when I was still in college, the previous fandom that I kind of lurked around, like, I had been watching these guys for years of my life. Like, to the point where a lot of my humor and a lot of the ways I, like, depict and, like, exaggerate and all this sort of thing can be dated back to a lot of their fucking shenanigans.
If it's okay to ask, which fandom are you referring to?
It was the Super Best Friends fandom.
Super Best Friends, okay.
Yeah, so they had, like, at a certain point during my, like, life, they had just broken it off. They were like, they had a big video of the end, and it was very sad, very tragic. It actually had ripples throughout the internet for a while there. And during that time, I was vaguely aware of VTubers. I had found some of Moe's content by that point. I had been I'd watched Kizuna I. I remember just, like, looking at one of her videos and just saying to myself that I want to be a part of that. I don't want to just be, like, coasting along in the fandom anymore. I want to just, like, make memories. I want to do all this sort of thing. And I actually remember I learned how to Photoshop because of that desire to want to be a part of something. And hell, the weirdo put that Photoshop in a video, and I was like, oh, look at that, it's my thingy. I don't deserve to be up there next to the good art. What the hell is this nonsense? And that made me feel like very good and part of a fandom. And then, like I said before, everything just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Thanks to the fucking, oh god, I think I can remember the exact game. Like, it was the collab between her, Lemmy, and Yui playing, what was it called? What was that game?
Maple Story.
Maple Story 2, that was it. It was the Maple, I'm surprised you remembered that. It was the Maple Story 2 collab that actually got me into the rest of English VTubing. And eventually, after ASU and after my debut and all that, or maybe it was before, either way, at some point, I had met Kyrie. She was streaming Tales of Symphonia. Saw that. That
escalated because it became, you're doing this wrong. And I'm like, well, show me.
You're doing this wrong. And eventually that became a lifelong friendship. Yeah. And the rest of that's just history.
Yeah.
Eventually met you, got the did a couple collabs at one point, and now we're all in a podcast together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was told instantly the second I became a VTuber that I need to make Pending because I'm a cookie obsessed person and Pending's a cookie obsessed person and we were both cookie obsessed people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think our first collab was the Chaos Farms.
That sounds right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Where we
I remember
did
those
Stardew
Chaos
Valley.
Farms.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And everybody kept stealing my shit, but Pending would always sleep next to me in the bed.
I took
and
everyone's
he
TV
would
and
say
I put
he
it-
would bring cookies.
Yeah.
You took everyone's TV. I remember
I
that.
took everyone's TV. That was one of the first things I did.
Oh yeah, no, like even just remembering back to all these like nostalgic times over the last several years, it's been like I'm happy with
Yeah.
the connections I've made and the people I've met, and I wouldn't be here without them.
I'm happy too.
So yeah, like she's never gonna hear this, but hey, thanks Mo. I would not be here without you just being you.
Mm-hmm.
Big thanks to Asu. Big thanks to co-host Kyrie Pending. Like I'd be a very different person if I didn't have all of you in my life. So thank you.
Big thanks to you too.
I'm not ready for this.
You're not.
I don't want Mushy and Gushy to start my year off.
well, listen. Would you rather have what else is happening during the start of the year? You get one or the other.
Moving on to current events.
Oh yes.
Don't worry, I don't want to talk about current events.
I literally
anymore
had
than
to
you.
tell.
No.
I had to tell people to call like family and stuff because they didn't know about the fires, and I'm just like, you need to
I don't
be
know about the
aware of
fires.
this.
I don't.
There's fires all in South Cal right
fire.
now.
Right, yeah, okay. I heard
You
virus.
said virus.
I heard virus. I'm like, well, this one's new. I knew about
This
the other
one's
things,
new.
but yeah, I know about the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have family that live in South Cal, so I'm like, we should probably check up on them. They're like, why do we need to check up on them? And I'm like,
We're on
because
fire.
it's being burnt down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But to move it away from current events and back to video games, we had a lot of good video games in 2024.
We did, yeah.
I'm gonna go out on, like, I think my favorite video game I played during 2024 has to be Baldur's Gate 3. That was
Saying it as I'm currently playing it now with Shad is pretty good.
It was a very good and very interesting experience that I didn't get out of a lot of other video games. It felt like a very, how do I put this? Grand scale, very intimate. So, like, sort of like how Honkai did its stuff. We're looping back around, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my favorite game or piece of media that I consumed, like, it didn't come out that year, but, like, I was very fortunate enough to play it that year, and I'm very happy with it.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to end up being my game of 2025.
I wouldn't put it put it past you that it's a very, very interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
It's D&D to its core.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it, because it tries to tackle everything you'd kind of get from D&D, and this is going to be weird because a lot of games don't tend to tackle intimacy. Blech. Fucking voice crack with that one. Oh,
you
God.
can't handle it either.
I
Apparently.
can't handle it. No, but like, it's very rare you actually get to see these more, like, I don't know how to put it, like, besides intimate moments between characters. So I do like it. It strikes a chord with me. for lack of a better word. And I kind of wish more games would do it, or more pieces of media would be as thoughtful with its use of intimacy as Baldur's Gate does.
When you say intimacy, what I'm imagining is a scene with two characters who are in like a kind of a quiet moment where they're kind of talking and sharing their feelings and reflecting on their situation, that kind of thing.
It's in every respect of the word of being intimacy, because like just hey, warning for those who can't handle it. The game does involve a lot of nudity and that sort of thing, and that is a big part of the game for people. If you can't handle that, there is a filter for that stuff.
I think
it's in the accessibility menu.
I think it's like
you can turn it off
mode or something, right?
It's not even streamer mode. You can turn off like scenes of graphic gore and sexualized content. But like I find it to be like, it would feel weird if the game didn't have that for me, just because like that feels like it's part of the game.
I mean, you're literally role-playing someone living a life.
Yeah. So that's, I guess that's the main reason. So like actually seeing these characters have, for lack of a better word, active sex lives, and like these intimate moments where they're confiding in each other it's nice to have.
Yeah, no, that's
I do like it, especially coming off of other RPGs where the most you get is like the kiss at the end, where the two get together and it's like, and they live happily ever after. And it's like, no, they got a lot more stuff they're working through.
Yeah, even as someone like that doesn't necessarily look for that specifically, I do appreciate the value and the realism of it. Like, if anything, just from a personal standpoint, something that has been in the back of my mind for a while is I would like to be capable of writing romance. Like romance that feels like genuine, and like characters that are truly in love with each other, that kind of thing. Like, that's something I really would like to be able to do. That's a challenge I hope to eventually.
So let me, I'm gonna be vague about this because I don't know how much I can talk about. However, from seeing some of your work, air quotes, that you have done for specific projects, I would say the more romantic elements that I have seen have been of much higher quality than I have seen in other works, and I would love to see more of that sort of thing, because it actually felt like the people in that said scenario were more, it felt more lived in, more real, and all that sort of like actually intimate versus other properties.
Oh, thank you.
Like, and yeah, I'm being vague as fuck, and I hope you know what I'm talking about.
I have an inkling of what it might be.
I could just, hold on, I'll just type it in the chat. Oh no, they're gonna hear what I'm typing. Yeah, so that's specifically what I mean. Like, that thing you did, it was good.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Like, to the point where I actually, like, a side tangent here, but I'll get back to it. I have been watching a show that I would not recommend to Pending. At all. But god damn would I recommend it to, like, a lot of other people. It is a show called Mushoku Tensei. A mutual friend of ours called Rena has been hounding my ass to watch this show for a long time, and I am so upset that I did not watch it sooner. It is one of the most... It's an anime that affected me in a way that I haven't really resonated with before. And it's just because I felt like the romance writing felt like it took its time properly and was really well done. I don't recommend it to pending specifically because it's very lewd.
Oh, okay.
Really, like, there's a lot of graphic scenes in there.
I see. Okay.
And it is unfortunate because I feel like it actually handles the characters in the relationship more so than the relationship itself. To the point where it's like, hey, a major event happens and two of the characters fuck up, and they're like, oh, I like shit goes south, and like they split off, and the characters are kind of distraught after that, and we actually see the coming to terms and all the messy shenanigans that accompany it, and I'm like, oh my god, give me more of this. And like when an old character showed back up, I literally yelled at the screen, "That's my man right there! That's my boy! I love that boy!" And it was good. I really resonated with that show.
Well, that's great. I mean,
and just to bring it back around, it's like, I felt a similar way with that, with your work.
Oh, well,
in general.
that's amazing.
Like,
thank you so much.
Like, I'm tempering this just because, like, it's not to the same point because I was with Mushoku Tensei for
Right,
longer.
yeah.
But
Well,
the actual quality of the writing, if you were given the same amount of time with these characters in, like, a bit more of a world, I could easily see myself getting attached to, like, their shenaniganery.
Well, I have brought this up before, and it's a bit on the back burner right now because I have more immediate stuff I'm tackling first, but I do want to write a full-length visual novel. And when I say a full-length visual novel, what I mean by that is a game that would conceivably take a person 50-60 hours to get through in a single playthrough.
How long is are generic visual novels?
So
either besides the point, it's like you want to write a full story.
yeah, I want to write something like that would be measured in the hundreds of thousands of words.
Yeah,
and I definitely I wouldn't go as far as to say that romance will necessarily be a central theme of it, but I definitely want it to be part of it. Like, I've considered the idea of, like, having a visual novel without romance. Like, I've thought about the merits of it, but I think at the end of the day, I just really do want to write romance. Like, I want to I want to have those moments, and I want to challenge myself to be able to do it. So even though romance won't necessarily be the focus of it, it certainly, I think, should be part of it.
Yeah. I think you're inevitably going to be writing romance to have a bigger role just because of the medium you're choosing.
I think so, especially because, like, visual novels are a lot about different choices.
It's about choices, but it's also about character.
Yeah.
So whenever you're writing a visual novel, it's like, you won't have super big and bombastic action scenes or like long drawn out Dragon Ball fights of where the intensity is when the attack will go off. Can you survive the attack? It's going to be more of characterization, planning, and if there is conflict, it would inevitably have to be more of subterfuge as opposed to bombast.
Yeah. Like, I do think that there will be combat. I think it'll be rooted more in strategy. Because, as you said, the medium doesn't lend itself very well to big action set pieces unless you have the budget for it.
Yes, because, like, at the end of the day, a visual novel is... They're made in RPG Maker.
Not...
Or they can be.
A lot of them are made in Ren'Py.
Well, yeah, Ren'Py and all that sort of thing, but a lot of the systems can easily be like swapped over and between for like RPGs and all that sort of thing. It's a big reason why Persona is half visual novel.
So Persona would be using its own engine. I would
Absolutely.
venture,
I'm not specifically talking about like engine
but
talk.
that being said,
it's more of
it is the case that it would not be a huge ask to add RPG elements to a visual novel. Like if you're using Ren'Py is not built specifically with RPG elements in mind, but it is built on top of Python. And if you're just talking about like basic RPG elements, that's not hard to add.
I mean, like just looking at it's like an RPG is just numbers.
Yeah, it would.
It's numbers and funny animations and fun animations to make those numbers go big or go home.
The challenges would be rooted in creating the presentation style for it. So like what the turn-based combat would look like. That would be part of the challenge. The other part of the challenge would be designing the RPG systems. So what abilities you have, what they do, how you balance it all, how big you want it to be, kind of thing.
I would say don't limit yourself to just thinking of it like an RPG system either, because then you're going to limit yourself to like a box of what you can and can't do. Biggest advice I can give you is don't be afraid to throw out the RPG system for a more diverse like system that would match the rest of the game.
Well, I think what's ultimately going to happen is I am going to script out the narrative before I start coding anything. So after I script out the narrative, then I'm going to think more about the extra gameplay elements that would make sense within the narrative, because the scripting will involve some gamification to begin with, because I will be scripting out branching paths, and I will I already have in my head that there are going to be certain point-based systems tethered to your character, so there'll be certain checks that the game will internally do, and different scenes will play out.
I'm sorry, Jim. You can't come in here because you don't have enough bungo bongo points in your pungo pongo meter.
Yeah, it'll be like if your character isn't, say, intelligent enough, they might not pass a speech check or something. Things like that.
You need 16 Bafam dads to get into the bar.
Or if your relationship with a certain character isn't high enough, like that'll impact how a scene plays out. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So even before the coding starts, there'll be some things like that. And the fact that I've done visual novels before helps a little bit, because I already kind of am able to internalize what this would look like from a code perspective once I reach that point. So it'll be less like it'll be less of a, well, this would be cool, I'll figure out how to do it later, and more of a, I already have a fairly good idea of how to implement this, so this is the steps I need to take. So that'll help streamline things. But this is all like longer term, because I have smaller projects that I'm going to complete first.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that just being the case. It's like I am very much looking forward to your writing, because I know you are have the ability to make interesting characters and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. Kyrie, what was your game of the year, or like most interesting piece of media you were playing last year?
Apothecary Diaries was fucking amazing.
Apothecary Diaries was so good.
That was
season 2 starts
really
in like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, I'm looking forward.
Oh, does it? Oh no!
I got
season 2 is about to start.
I'm gonna be there for that. I gotta watch season 2.
I'm about to rewatch it.
God, we need.
I'm about to rewatch season 1.
Can we just like put some time together where all three of us can just go and watch this shit again? Like,
absolutely.
At some
Done.
point, because this, like, I think that'll just be really good. Cause
It's such a good show.
It is.
And like,
it really
to be fair,
is.
my game of the year is Baldur's Gate, but we've already touched on
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
Interesting. That I don't know that I necessarily have a game of the year. I will. By the way, as we were talking about like the romance and the story and all that stuff, I will say,
Yeah.
as much as I criticize Penacony for being uneven, there were some good parts of it.
We can't escape MiHoYo. We
The problem
tried.
is it was awfully front loaded. Like I will say that Aventuring's story was amazing. So, but I would hesitate to call Honkai Star Rail my game of the year just because at the end of the day it felt awfully uneven.
Well, I would say a game of the year has to be something you can.
it's
sorry.
something that you've personally enjoyed over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like if you can look back on it at the end of the year and say, yeah, I had fun with that.
I mean,
That's, or you enjoyed your experience or you'd want to do that again. Like, I think the biggest example for me is always, if I could erase my memory of one game and re-experience it from blank again, it would always be Dark Souls 1. There was a certain magic that happened where I was in like the perfect mindset, the perfect time frame, and the perfect point in my life to really, really appreciate everything Dark Souls 1 had to offer me. I will never get that same feeling again, and that's okay.
I think the close.
He tries to live vicariously through me. I try.
Literally, that's that is what everyone who watches these games does. Is we're not here to see people succeed. We're here to see the journey.
I think,
and that's that's what everyone who watches Dark Souls and that sort of content is watching.
I think for me, like the game, like if I could erase my memory of a game and play it for the first time again, probably Final Fantasy IX would be the top of my list for that.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Final Fantasies are good ones.
Yeah.
I'd like to erase my most recent instance of Final Fantasy X.
So you could experience it all over again?
Yeah, that's why. It's yeah, no, I don't.
Shame that crashed.
Shame that crashed. No, I will not explain what happened with on pending stream involving Final Fantasy X. Go find it for yourselves.
I mean, it was an
It's like
amazing
I never-
stream.
Yeah.
It was a
It was great. I was so happy that it worked.
Like, all jokes aside with that, I'm really glad I stuck to my guns and was the off-kilt was like, I don't know what to put it, like, what would our fucking dynamic be for that fucking stream? Like, I guess I would be the straight man in that whole scenario.
I think we were all trying to play
Like-
the straight man, but in different contexts.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but like, oh my god, that was a...
I can't even try to be straight. I was very gay.
Yeah.
There's so many jokes I could make off of that, man.
Uh-huh.
It's so easy, but it's so hard. Don't take that out of context.
It's
But
gonna
yeah,
be
so-
taken out of context.
Yeah. So yeah, Penning, what was your what would you say is your, or like what's everybody's favorite media of the year? I remember. Yeah. Give me.
I mean, it's got to be Apothecary Diary if we're going with favorite media.
Yeah,
of the year.
let's go.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
see that.
It's the only. It's funny because like, when I first started watching Apothecary Diary, I was telling someone like, maybe 2 or 3 episodes in, it's like, I don't know that I feel good about watching this. And we talked about this already, so I don't want to get too much into it, but
yeah.
but yeah, because
It was our first podcast.
Yeah. But like, as time went on, it grew on me so much that I even started reading the light novel after finishing the anime.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that I've read a light novel, so...
Yeah, no, if it's enough to, like, make you pick up the entirely different medium just off of quality alone, I would say that's a good indication of quality.
I afterwards, like, I looked into this, like, I kind of want to get into the manga. It's like, the manga isn't far enough along.
Is a mess.
Yeah, the manga had the manga had some issues. Plus, it wasn't like far enough along. Like, I knew I would run into the same problem I ran into the anime with. So I'm like, I'm going to just go straight to the light novel.
Yeah,
which is good. Pending got me into it too. So
yeah, the light novel's great. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to season 2 of that. That would be my choice for media of the year.
Yeah, I can agree on that one being really good. Like, I'm really glad you guys got me into that one. That was genuinely a very enjoyable watch.
You said...
The only other anime I would say I enjoyed thoroughly that I could rewatch over and over again is one called Dangers of My Heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember you talking about this.
Which is the one that I've mentioned it to Shad, but it's literally like me and Alex in like anime form. At least that's what he describes it. Now, it's a little like emo short king in high school, like saying he wants to get rid of the really popular model girlfriend, girl in class, and then she starts hanging around him and all of his like private spaces, and she kind of breaks down his little emo bubble. And it's so cute, and it's all about them falling in love.
I'm trying to think if there's like another anime that hit me really hard this year, like Oshinoko Stand. Free Ren.
Solo Leveling is coming back too.
Solo Leveling, I really enjoyed the first season of. I didn't enjoy it on the same level as Apothecary Diary, because I think Solo Leveling for me felt more... It's weird to say given how dark it gets, but it felt more comfort foody in the sense that it was like kind of just fun action.
Yeah, I would say I'm a little bit disappointed with Solo Leveling just because I really, really loved those first 2 episodes before the thing happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to see a full series of that level of stuff instead of
the person who watched like the first 2 episodes, then read the entire series. You go back to those first 2 like episodes a lot.
It's more of specifically, it's not like the first 2 episodes, but like the feeling of those first 2 episodes. To put it in perspective, it's a very similar feeling to what I got when I watched Kaiju number 8, where I would have loved to see the lower rung aspect of Solo Leveling and looking at it from like the culture perspective of like, oh, okay, so what if you can't get stronger? How does that work? How would you get creative about that? Where would this fight scene lead if, say, he wasn't able to Ubermensch his way through
that's,
it?
You're thinking of different series. That's not the basis of this series entirely. It's guy was too weak to be able to do anything, and he's died, and God has granted him a second chance with a new power.
No, that's what I said about the first 2 episodes, because it's like I liked everything before the reincarnation. I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to see more of it from that perspective.
You haven't even got to a cusp of what this show is. You haven't even seen anything that'll truly make this
absolutely. I'm interested. Like, the biggest thing is I think I get a lot out of Solo Leveling Because I watched a video that talked about Korean politics.
Why would you do that?
Specifically because it was talking about it was an interesting video on the state of Korean gacha games and how that was very
90% sure
heavily.
I saw the same video.
Yes, where it was going over like a lot.
Why you gotta
people,
mix your medias?
because it's interesting.
Did that
but
video
specifically
have like a part where it was breaking down like an airplane crash? Okay.
Yes, specifically the airplane. It is because maybe I'm trying to apply a lot of like outworld knowledge and like giving a lot of like benefit of the doubt to a lot of what the writing is implying. But I like to think about the media I'm watching a lot as well. And when Solo Leveling is like giving me all these intricate like politics in the background, like power plays, money changing hands. It's like, okay, hold on, that's interesting, but I'm more interested in that than the fight scenes. And it's just like, the fight scenes don't do much for me. Like,
Get out.
like,
You get your coat and you get out of this house right now. How dare you?
like
You
they're
insult
not-
me? You insult your cow? You insult the entire family? Get out!
Don't need your cat. But yeah, it's not to say that the fight scenes aren't visually fucking fantastic. It more feels like I'm eating the best goddamn potato chips I've ever eaten.
They're great potato chips.
They're really good potato chips, but I'm much more interested in like digging through. The food analogy is lost. I can't.
You can't.
You
can't. I was waiting for you to end this because I'm like, you of all people cannot do food analogies
No, I
because you
can't.
don't experience food.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, the big thing with me is like I found that I enjoy a lot of the politicking and character interactions a lot more, and the fight scenes don't really give me a lot of that stuff, because I think for me, one of the biggest examples I have is, I forgot what episode it's in, but they get trapped in with the evil team of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Sun Ji-woo has to, like, make a choice. It's not really a choice. Like, they're assholes.
The choice he had was, do I leave them to kill each other, which inevitably will just leave me as the solo survivor, or do I show my powers and try and risk the few to save the few good?
Mm-hmm. And, like, everyone who's not our protagonist is just kind of an asshole for no reason.
No, it's because of the world they live in.
I don't think,
Like-
Shad, I don't think you fully appreciate just how cool it is when he said arise.
Oh, dude, like, I was fucking hyped when the fucking, the music kicked in, when he was kicking those guys, like, he was murdering those guys. It was really cool. But man, there's a lot more I wish I could dig into. I feel like a lot of it's surface
I just want to
level,
sweep you into a corner right now. Just like go in the corner. Just stay over there.
No, I understand.
Think about what you've done. Like
that's the problem, Kyrie. I'm thinking too much about what I'm doing.
So
But I want
thinking
more.
about this too much.
So, like, just to, no, I'm not even gonna touch on Kaiju number 8 because I don't know if either of you watched it or want to watch it.
I actually.
No, I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
okay. Well, we should.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna get into any
I
sort of
missed
spoiler cast.
like the last 2 simulcasts of anime, so I'm slowly going to be catching up on
Fair.
it.
Understandable, but yeah, that's my thing on solo leveling. Yeah. So, what else? There was. I found something interesting.
What is this interesting?
Like, so, I said, I touched on earlier that I've been getting back into Warframe. I do this thing with Warframe where, like, they'll release a major update. I'll play through it for a little bit, do some grinding, get to where I feel, like, a little bit more comfortable, but not, like, play it every day because it's a job sort of thing, and then I will, like, cold turkey it until the next update. And I feel like that is a very healthy thing to do for games that are like that, where you're going through it, and it's like where they want you to keep coming back and playing a lot. Like games like Honkai, like
I thought you were going to say Pong for some
all
reason.
the others. Like all that sort of thing. Because it actually gives me time away, and I appreciate the game a lot more. But I'm also, like, playing other things, doing all this stuff, and I'm not making the game my job. And Warframe does this sort of thing where it's like, you can leave and you still won't really feel like you've missed stuff.
Right.
So I'm very happy with that. And the biggest thing I noticed about Warframe coming back to its newest update called 1999 was that I can go through some tedious stuff if I'm really invested in the story and the characters and what it's asking of me. Because for a big overview here, the newest Warframe update added, like, you're dropped into a scene, or you're dropped into an area, and essentially what happens is you're given this group of characters.
Sure.
And the entire quote-unquote goal of the update is for you to experience these characters, chat them up, and have an actual, like, relationship with them. In both, like, in every term of it, because, hey, you can romance characters as well if you want to. And the entire goal of it is to get them to like you, and I feel like they did a really good job at that, because I lost a good couple of days just wanting to help these characters. And I felt like their writing was interesting enough because I kept coming back and I'd be like, I want to chat. I want to talk with these characters. They have a little fucking, like, AIM instant messenger feature where you talk to the characters, and it's kind of endearing.
That's a good touch.
Like, I think the funniest thing is, like, one of the characters is, like, very fast, and they're doing the super speed thing. So they'll just type out lines upon lines of fucking text before you can just read any of it, and you have to scroll back up to get it all. It's super endearing. And I do like the characters. So going through that entire update was fun, because I could be doing some of the tedious stuff, but as long as I got to experience the character interactions, I felt like it was worth it. And going back to things like Genshin and Honkai and all that earlier, I can, just comparing and contrasting, I felt like that sort of connection with the characters was missing. Where they didn't really feel real. Whereas these characters who ostensibly only have, like, 30 some odd lines of dialogue after you're done with them, are like, they felt more real to me than that. So that's more or less my shenaniganery on that end.
I think I suspect part of, like, what helps to make a character feel more real is having them in a more casual setting, like giving them And Honkai does that to an extent too. Like, Honkai does have, like, the characters will text message you after you acquire them. Not a lot though. Like, they get like 3 or 4 days in a row where they'll text you after you successfully pull that character, and then not really ever again, or not commonly again. Sometimes for story reasons they'll message you again, but But yeah, I do like the whole like aspect of text of characters texting you, exchanging text or casual conversation with characters. Like it's hard to balance that
Oh my
without
God.
like destroying the pacing, but like having it be a side thing helps.
Having it be a side thing that you interact with at your leisure is great, because funnily enough, Street Fighter 6 in its its main campaign has something similar where you can go and befriend the people who will give you moves, and they're just the characters you actually play as in the fighting game. And your custom character talking to these people and having the different ways they text is oddly endearing. Like, one of the things that really got me back then was Ryu from Street Fighter, the karate man known throughout the world, is bad at texting, and he is the I don't know how to use technology grandpa.
Yeah.
And it's super endearing just seeing him like slow texting and not knowing how to use a phone.
I enjoy that.
So like characters like that are really interesting. I feel like at least in Honkai's case, like it's suffering from the there are way too many characters issue.
Yeah, to an extent that is the case.
Kyrie, you've played like a couple of mobile games that do something similar, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
what were
addicted to
those?
one called AFK Legends.
Yeah, where like the characters like text you and talk to you for
Oh, that
while.
one? There is
Yeah.
one that is specifically like that. It's a dating game. It's a Korean dating game, and oh my god, they would text and like have conversations, and it's over the course of an IRL 2-week period to get an ending. There is 7 different characters, and each of them have somewhere between 7 and 10 endings.
Wow.
I spent probably 6 months not having a sleep schedule. So I could wake up every like 4 hours to talk to these characters because it's so freaking it was so good.
Jesus.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
You know what? Hey, if you enjoyed your Korean boy texting simulator, more power to you.
It was amazing because it was a very unique story. It really was. So, but yeah, they get addictive.
Yeah, it is honestly amazing what like even a little bit of characterization can do to enhance something. 'Cause even in VTubing, I find myself way more interested in people who are more in depth with their lore. I love seeing what people are able to create and do these like fast like stories and intricate little things, and I want to see more of it. Like getting a lot of those like animatics every so often. I'm like, oh, eat that shit up, give it to me. Oh yes, oh give me more.
Are you sure you want to eat it up? Because I'm pretty sure you've never tasted it.
I'll give it a go. I don't give a shit.
Pending, you've heard it here. He's gonna try to eat something.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm gonna try and eat brain. Give me a minute. I need to get that lore in my system.
It just looks like a bagel.
Yeah. I don't think you'd make it as a zombie, Shad.
I don't think you would either.
Yeah,
You'd still be trying to eat a potato. You wouldn't try brains if it was in front of you.
No. It's, I'd look at it, chew it for a bit, and then be like, ew, I don't like it. Can you cook this a little bit? What you guys think? It is no.
Yeah, you wouldn't make a good zombie. I agree with Pending.
Yeah. Would you guys make good zombies?
No.
Probably not.
I'd survive for like a while just because of my location.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out.
You'd have a Walmart and a Woods and Water close by, so you have food and you have ammo. You'd survive for quite a while.
Anywhere in the U.S., you'd be like, yeah, you'd survive pretty well up here. You got ammo.
Yeah.
You're good. I think in the northern parts of Canada, you'd also be pretty good because the zombies would just like freeze in place.
Yeah, I guess so.
Pending's never thought this thoroughly
No, I
about it.
really haven't.
Cause like at what point? Because if we're thinking about zombies as like an actual entity here, you have to like think like what's actually like moving them. Like it's decaying muscle tissue at that point, right? Because
I guess so.
once they lose a certain amount of muscle tissue, they're just gonna be like walking bones.
And Bones can't walk.
And Bones can't, Bones can't walk. So it's like, you're safe. There's a certain, like, zone of influence where I don't think a zombie is viable. Like, closer to the equator is probably very unviable for zombies. And, like, in the northern north, where zombie flesh would just, like, freeze.
Dude, imagine zombies in the Amazon.
Amazombies. You want Amazombies?
Yeah. They wouldn't survive. All the big snakes would eat them. They'd drown.
Okay. But would they turn the snakes into zombies?
No.
Why not?
There's
Why-
never been an instance in zombie protocols that dictates that just because you eat a zombie makes you zombie.
No, but if you were able to eat a zombie, theoretically it could bite you as well and turn
True.
you into a zombie.
But also in that same note, it's never been stated that the animals would turn zombie, that the bite correlates to transfer between species.
True, but we have had things like zombie animals before, specifically dogs. We've had a lot of zombie dogs. I don't think we've had a zombie cat.
No zombie cats as far as I'm aware of. No zombie snakes. No zombie scorpions. No zombie fish.
I don't know how a zombie snake would differ from a regular snake as part of the thing.
Okay, like, if we extend it out to Resident Evil, we have had zombie sharks.
What differentiates a zombie shark from a regular shark?
It's technically
Takes
dead.
more bullets to kill.
Okay.
Though I don't even know if it technically counts as zombie. I think they just injected the shark with the T virus and is like, I'm big now.
Did it stand on two legs?
If you load up a Resident Evil randomizer, it can be swimming around on basic ground. And
I
that's
feel like I could
terrifying.
take it.
You could take on a
think
Resident
so.
Evil shark?
You don't think so?
Yeah.
I think
Thank
you
you.
could.
I'm glad one of you believes in me.
Pending. Yeah,
Oh,
you know what,
damn,
Pending?
Shad. You don't believe in pending?
You don't think I could take on the zombie shark, Shad?
I hope you could, but I'm not putting
Why
money
won't
on you. Because I have shit luck.
That's fair.
True. You probably want my luck instead. I roll lots of high rolls.
That's fair.
I'm aware you do. I'm
Shad's
aware
very
you do.
upset with me in Baldur's Gate because I roll really high.
Yeah, very specifically in Baldur's Gate 3, Kyrie and I have been doing a co-op run as her first run, and god damn, her base rolls are fucking mean. I have notoriously rolled very low. I still notoriously roll very low.
This is why
Yeah,
we
that-
make sure I roll.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a few times, like, Shad is like, oh, you'll never make this, and then the next roll, I instantly get it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's great.
We even prep for the save scum, and we never have to do it.
Oh, yeah. It's It's a day
and a half.
and a half.
You know,
That's fine.
you know what we should do at some point?
Yeah.
A
What?
D&D tournament.
How in
We each make a D&D character, and then
What?
we 1v1 the characters until there's a winner.
you wanna do D&D PvP? That's
That seems like we have to make a lot of rules to go into that.
Yeah, we would.
Because it's like, what's
Depending-
going to happen first? The wizard casting fireball or the monk getting attacked 6 times in a row?
yeah, because here's the problem pending. D&D and most RPGs in general are games of very high damage going out and very low damage receiving.
What if?
And most enemies tend to be more tanky, so they can get a lot more take a lot
What
more
if?
hits.
What if we had D&D teams, and we had set up a like a horde mode for each team, and we see whose D&D team lasts the longest.
That seems more reasonable.
That's an interesting idea. Like, that would also require like some that would be this is a very wacky idea, and we need to workshop it further. Like, I like the idea, but I am definitely not familiar enough with the D&D systems to be able to run that properly.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'm much more familiar with Pathfinder. I have never run a D&D game.
Hey, but we're playing D&D, which
We
is
are
still
playing
going.
D&D, which is still going. We are.
Tune in Wednesdays.
I wasn't feeling too good today, otherwise we may have played.
Next week, though.
Maybe. It depends on work.
Maybe. Yeah,
Because
that's
they
true.
want me to work Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, that checks out.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
How's your other group doing?
They haven't picked up at all.
Oh, okay. So, gotcha.
Holidays, and then one of the people we have kind of got like a mini promotion at work.
Oh, good
And
for them.
so, yeah, it's good for them until they have to spend 3 weeks out of 4 in a different state because they're flying drones.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. But, yeah, I think we've been going for 2 hours.
This is our
yeah.
usual
Yeah.
stop time.
This is our
Yeah,
usual stop time.
something.
So, with that being said, hey guys, thank you all
Thank
for
you for
coming by
being here.
again, and I really hope you enjoyed the last podcast that we do.
The last podcast?
I'm enjoying doing
The
this.
last podcast, you're canceling it? You're canceling
no,
us?
Not yet. No, I'm not canceling. I couldn't cancel you if you tried. You have too much dirt
This
on
is
me.
true.
True.
You know where the bodies are buried.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, not all of them, but
Yeah.
no one could possibly know where all of them are.
Pending probably knows different ones than I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. The different, yeah. Anyway, but yes, I'm honestly looking forward to doing more of
Yeah.
these this year. This has been very fun, and I enjoy recording them. They're a breeze to edit. Thank fuck. And yeah, I quite enjoy just putting these on the back burner and like having a nice chat with you guys for a couple of hours. It's
Yay.
nice.
Yeah.
And I hope all of you listening enjoy our senseless ramble.
We do it a lot.
We do it a lot. And inevitably, we eventually talk about Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah! It's the year of Apothecary
Yes.
Diaries. Tune in next time where we actually talk about the new season of Apothecary
Yeah.
Diaries.
And what? How many episodes will be out? Like 2, 3,
3 or
by
4?
the time we 3 or 4 by the time we.
And I'll be
actually
in
get to
London.
It'll be in London.
Yeah.
Oh boy, chip pip pear cheerio and all that.
Yeah, I'll be recording from a
I
different
look
country.
forward to you changing your accent.
We'll
Ah.
see. I haven't changed my accent at all since I've been with Alex. I don't think it's going to change now.
There.
You just did it a little bit.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I, Pending? Tell me
I don't
honestly.
know.
Did
It wasn't
change?
noticeable to me.
Okay. See,
Well,
Shad?
there you go.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, guys, thank you again for joining us all on Left Unspoken. I have been the host, Shad. Joining me are...
I'm Pending.
And we hope you all have a fantastic night and the
Happy New
rest
Year!
of your new...
Happy
Happy
New
New Year. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.